In this video, we're going to go over print statements and how to print in Java. Let's break this video or break this explanation up into, first I'm going to talk about what it is and what we're doing, which is very simple. Then how we do it. And then after that, what it means. So those are the 3 steps. So let's start with what it is. Well, it's very simple. It's just basically printing stuff out to your screen. For example, if I wanted to print hello world, which is often what people print as their first statement, right? This is when they first learn programming, they print out hello world. It's kind of a nice thing. So hello world would be printed out to the screen. That's what it does. It's just print stuff out to the screen. That's what it is. That's probably pretty obvious to you. So let's move on to the next part, how to do it. How do you print it out? Well, it depends on which language you're using, but in Java, you use this certain statement and you have to follow the statement. If you don't follow the statement, it's not going to work. You're going to get an error. So let me show you how to do it. You start with system. Then you have a dot. And let me color code that dot so you can see it. System.out and then dot. And then this is obvious to you. These are the kind of the counterintuitive things, but then you do print. And then what you have is you have a set of parentheses, open and close. Inside of here is what you want to print. You can print out a string, you can print out a variable, you can print out whatever you want. And then semicolon, of course, as you generally have. And if, let's say, hello world is what I wanted, and it has to be within a set of quotation marks. This is a classic statement for people to first learn. Now, there's another way to do this. Not another way to do this, but there's another sort of print statement that you can use, and this one is actually more commonly used. It's the println statement or println. It's basically system. You have the same format. You have system dot out dot print, but instead of just print, you have print and then ln after that. What this does is essentially it prints out your statement. Let me write it out. Hello world. So everything else is the same. It's just this ln that we had. So hello world. What you do is you print out hello world. So your output, if both of these statements were there, this is what your output would be. You have hello world, that would be printed out. And then what happens is actually it doesn't go to the next line. As you might think, it goes to the next line because it's another statement, right? It's in the next line in your code, but when you output it, it's going to go in order. It's not going to go to the next line. It's just going to follow instructions. It's not smart. It just does what we say. So what happens is hello world is printed out, HW for short. And then right after that, it prints out hello world again. No spaces, nothing. But then this ln, what this does is it actually returns, it goes to the next line. So since there's nothing else, but it's nothing else after this hello world statement that we see here, it still does go to the next line though. So your cursor would be here, and then you'd stop. The code is done. So basically this ln, what it does, println, is it just prints out the statement and it goes to the next line and then continues on with the code. Let me give you an example where we print something after the statement. So I want to just do print and then let me see. Elon Musk will meet Moyer someday. This is obviously, going to the next line because I can't fit it, but it would just be continued on if it was in your program. So Elon Musk will meet Moyer someday. Hopefully that'll happen. And then semicolon. And then your output would be the following. So I'm actually going to write the output out neatly. So the output would be like this. First, you would have hello world. Then you would have hello world right next to this, hello world. And then you'd go down and you'd write Elon Musk will meet someday. Okay, so then what happens is, since this is a print statement, it's not a println statement. It does, the cursor just stops here. It doesn't go to the next line. So it's kind of weird, right? This is not very nice looking and all that, but the computer program doesn't know that it's not nice looking. The computer program just follows instructions. So yeah, that's basically just a kind of a long explanation of something that could have been way shorter, but that's a print statement. Now, the last part of my explanation should be why. Why is it like this? Why is it formatted System.out.print, etc.? Let's focus in on the System.out. The System.out is essentially talking about outputting to the screen. That's what it does. You're outputting. That's what System.out says. And then here it's just a print. That's basically what it is. You're printing it out. And then here is what you're printing it out. What you're printing out, and then you end with a semicolon. That's obviously not like a very good explanation, but it certainly is an explanation that will help you remember the format of print statements. This is how I like to remember it. I like to think about it logically, and over time, it'll become intuitive. So hopefully that was a detailed explanation. Let's go over to the IDE to look at it in action.
Well, that must have been a very long explanation for simply printing out. But one thing I can say for sure, as you do more and more print statements, you slowly get more used to it. But now let's pull up an example of how to print. So let's first do System.out.println. And as a note, System.out.println is the basic first thing you'll probably learn when you're learning a programming language like Java. But when you transition to other languages, the format to printing out is going to be different than this. So this is something you need to remember specifically for Java. So now in this println statement, let's say in parentheses, what the dog doing? What the dog doing? And make sure you have a question mark because, oh, maybe that's not a question. Yes, it is. All right. Now in a new line, let's now print out. So println, the dog might be barking very loud. Barking loud. And now in our last line for this example, let's now say System.out.println. Then say ... or maybe not. All right, so now let's see the output and let's analyze what the output is going to be. So let's run our program. And let's see the output. So gotta wait for this to compile. All right, so we see that it's printing out what the dog doing, giving a new line. The dog might be barking loud, giving a new line, and then ... or maybe not, or maybe not. My bad. So let's look at this line by line. So first we're doing println, what the dog doing, and recall what println is. It's basically printing out the statement and then giving a new line. And the same thing for the next few lines. Well, the second one is printing out the dog might be barking loud, giving a new line because it's println. And lastly, we have println or maybe not. And if our last statement here is println, it's basically going to stop at the end of that statement. So let's now make things probably a little bit more. Let's make some changes, make things a little bit more formatted. Let's now, in the second line, let's instead say print, because usually it would be probably better to have had the or maybe not in the same line as the dog might be barking loud. With the ellipses. So let's run it. Let's run our program and see what the output is going to be. All right, so now we see a probably better formatted answer. We have the question in the first line, and then we have our answer in the second line itself. So that's probably, as I said before, probably a better way we can format it. But let's now look at this. So first, the println, what the dog doing stays the same. So it's going to print out the statement, give a new line. But notice the change here. We're printing out the dog might be barking loud, but we're using only print. So basically, when you use print, it's not going to give a new line. And then when it's not going to be giving a new line. And then when you go to the next statement, it's going to print out or maybe not within the same line as the last statement we had, which is the dog might be barking loud. And then in the same line, dot, 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 or maybe not. But then after the dot, 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 or maybe not, it's going to give us a new line at the end. But since we don't have any other print statement after that, that's basically how it works. So that's the main difference between print ln and print, where print ln prints out the statement, gives a new line. Print just prints it out. It doesn't give a new line after printing out that statements. And that's pretty much how print statements work in Java. Thanks. Sorry for the long video. Yeah, I know it's pretty long, but as you do more of it, you'll get more used to it.